Yeah, this my strategy. We can make it work, but you mad at me. I know that pussy nigga, he no fan of me. I kinda took his bitch and lit his fantasy. And rarely do I linger, you might make me do it. You let me slide my finger to the base to it. I was trying to pace it, but you lacing shoes. I was trying to be like JC Yellow Stew. I was in the basement, I was shuffling tapes. I just want your face in it, cause I'm impatient. Baby, we could take a rest and keep it basic. I can be your nigga when your nigga missing. I know I'm straight, I'm back, okay, I see your laser. Focus better than me, cause I can't be no chaser. I can't do me no more, so do me a favor. Or I can be your nigga when your nigga tripping. Miss me with that bullshit, no Scotty jokes. You the type of nigga who call Scotty bro. Then wonder why she let me dump and stretch her throat. I've been on my Lord, I need me a foreign. I don't need control.
Yeah.
Control. I've been on my Lord, I need me a foreign.
Just
I
niggas.
don't need control. I don't need control.
Time. Yeah. We back. It's been a while. This is the KO show. And it is me. It is I says me. And all who agree are more than three because they are weak. It's the blood clot vibe, man. Back for the one time and every time. It's been a while. KO show episode 8. We go deeper into the hate. 3 topics for this show. NFL sucks and the introduction to Thoth. Or Thoth. Or Thoth. However you want to pronounce it. But first, it's been a while. It's probably been about a month or 2 since I've been on this motherfucker. And that's because life has been kicking my dick. But we back. And we're going to get more consistent. We're going to attack this shit. We're going to keep going forward with the format change of this show. Moving away from sports. Gossip, drama. All around nigga business. I'm done with it. And we're going to move forward into ancient civilizations. Education. Mind expansion. Questioning. Reading. Research. All the things that we don't do enough of. Society would probably be a better place if we did more of it. So, but first, let's check out today's NFL slate. We're going to make this NFL shit quick because as of today, I'm done with the NFL. I'm sick of all of them. I'm quitting. Actually, as of last week. Ain't that when Joe Burrow got hurt? Yeah. So as of now, NFL don't exist. I'm an MLB. I'm a baseball nigga now. I watch the motherfucking MLB network. I'm Busteroni at this point because I'm done with football. The Bengals are cursed. This is the curse of bad business. Yeah, but we don't even need to get into that. Poor Joe Burrow. This is why Carson Palmer left. He threatened to retire. Um, I don't know any other team in the league. Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Los Angeles Chargers. 4 teams with motherfucking superheroes at quarterback. And you know what they find a way to do? Protect the best asset on their team, The nigga you pay $50 million a year to. The nigga who, if he don't work, your whole team don't work. These are multi-billion dollar businesses, and they entrust themselves into these one guys. And this one guy, the Bengals refused to get him protected. What did they do the first year? They snapped his knee in half. What did they do the second year? I think he drug him to the playoff. What did they do after that? He fucking fucked up his wrist, throwing the hell out of the ball, trying to save the team. What happened last year? The nigga had an MVP season, and the goddamn defense couldn't come up. And what happened this year? They couldn't protect him again, and he tore up his goddamn toe. And now he out for 3 months, which he might as well be out for the season, which you might as well tank for whoever the fuck is coming out of the draft. Joe Burrow, I hope you don't leave. I'm sorry you had to get drafted to us. We fucking suck. Can't do a goddamn thing, right? That's for damn sure. But it's okay. But we're gonna go down the slate of these games, a couple of these games, just the important ones, to be honest. And then we will get into our introduction of Thoth. Well, first, Raiders and Commanders, 41-24 Commanders. I don't know what's going on with y'all, Las Vegas. You basically the Las Vegas Seahawks. Nothing more to say there. Falcons got whooped 30-0 by the motherfucking Falcons. I mean, by the Panthers. Ain't even got words for it. How the fuck you beat up on the Minnesota Vikings a week ago and then you get smashed by the probably one of the worst teams in the league? I don't even know how you do it. Top three worst team in the league, and somehow y'all get shut out. And it's a divisional matchup, so you know these motherfuckers. That's crazy. Green Bay Packers, you suck. Everything from Wisconsin, you suck. Not just the Green Bay Packers, the Wisconsin Badgers, the motherfucking Milwaukee Brewers, y'all suck. Trey, you also suck. I would have bet my life today that the Packers would beat the Browns. They were on every ticket I had. And honestly, the Packers are probably 75% of the reason I'm fucking retiring for betting today. They told me these bums was the best team in the league, and they got Micah Parsons. They told me this was the best defense in the league. They told me the NFC is written already. It was written by the Packers. Y'all couldn't score a touchdown in the first 3.5 quarters of the game, and somehow you lose to 3 to the Browns. The same Browns that niggas said Cincinnati was shitty because we only beat them by one, and we've been telling y'all the Browns actually play good defense. Offense is a whole different story. They'd rather watch Joe Flacco get his goddamn ass handed to him than put in Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. But typical Browns doing Brown shit. Broncos, Chargers, who gives a shit? Bears, Cowboys, what in the fuck? I don't even know how y'all lost to them. These Giants, terrible game. I'm definitely done betting after that shit. Bengals got whooped to hell 48-10 by the Minnesota Vikings, who was using Carson Wentz. That's all that need to be said. Zach Taylor needs to go. Mike Brown needs to go. The whole entire Brown family needs to go. I hope Jamar Chase don't go. I guess he can't go. He just got paid. But god damn it. This is the curse of bad business, Bengals. You played around with your players. You know it's bad when the Bengals wouldn't even pay the white man. Trey Hendrickson. Curse of bad business, Bengals. Y'all fucking up. It's terrible. Can't do it with y'all no more. Colts, it's hilarious. Everybody get out of New York Giants organization and do better. They got Daniel Jones out here looking like he Josh Allen. Good for him. Rams, y'all deserve to lose that. Y'all let the Eagles come back and win that shit. That is insane. But it's okay. It was expected. Steelers versus Patriots. Aaron Rodgers 2-1. AFC North, figure something out because he coming for y'all. Buccaneers barely held on to beat the Jets. The Seahawks whooped the dog shit out of the Saints, which we all knew was going to happen. I think this means Spencer Rattler now starts his career as 0-10, and the only other nigga to ever do that is Brody Croyle. Crazy. Cardinals lost to the Niners 16-15. We expected that. And yeah, that's really about it. But Bengals, this is the curse of bad business, like I said. I don't know how you draft a superhero. We somehow get lucky enough to have a top three quarterback in the league by every measure, and the only quarterback who seems to be able to beat until last year beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and this is what y'all do with him. Y'all put a bunch of fat fucking losers around him to block for him, and they get him tore up every chance they get. At this point, I wouldn't even be mad at Joe if he said he wanted to leave. Watch Joe go to fucking Seattle. He's gonna get as far away from Cincinnati as he can. And this is exactly why Carson Palmer threatened to retire. And this is exactly why you know, this is exactly why terrible shit keeps happening to the Bengals. Curse of bad business. Keep doing bad business. Trey Hendrickson was the best motherfucking edge rusher in the league the last 2 years. What do y'all want to do? Play with his money, not pay him. Just because he just turned 30. That's fucking insane. But typical Bengals stuff. I threw away my jersey, a la Skip Bayless, and we rooting for Lamar to go get him one. But that's it for that. We don't really get into sports on this show no more, man. We getting back to it. I've been doing a lot of research while I've been away. Been learning a lot of shit, and not by no means am an expert on this stuff, but we are here to learn together. And I figure why not document this educational journey? Because with all the crazy shit happening in the world, you got politics, you got Charlie Kirk getting shot up, well shot. You got Cardi B getting pregnant, like someone gives a fuck. You got Stefan Diggs getting two bitches pregnant in 1 year. Great job. You kicking life's ass right now, buddy. Uh, you got all types of dumb shit going on across the planet, and especially across the USA. Therefore, we're gonna get into some education because all this shit don't mean shit. You mad you gotta go to work tomorrow because your coworker sucks or your boss sucks? That shit don't mean shit. You got annoying ass neighbors that play their music too goddamn loud or they always arguing. That shit don't mean shit. You think your life sucks and things will never change? That shit don't mean shit. You hate everyone and everything. It's unnecessary because that shit don't mean shit. And I've been learning it's better to be nice, spread love. It sounds cheesy, but it's enough shitty shit going on in the world, you know. And we got to learn how to get into some thinking. You got to start thinking again. Motherfuckers be doom scrolling too much. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of that shit. They're scrolling, watching the same old dumb shit every day. A motherfucker that can't cook on fucking Instagram getting 1 million views. Somebody busting their ass. Somebody talking to the phone. Somebody looking at the phone while stealing somebody else's video and making facial gestures at it. All unnecessary. Y'all got to change up your algorithm, and that's what we're here to do today. We're here to get educated. You know what I'm saying? Uh, one sec. I need to send a link out. Wait. Yeah, that's what we're here to do. NFL, I couldn't even talk about. I ran through that shit in less than 5 minutes. Honestly, I couldn't even do it. I'm really over the NFL. I'm over betting. If you've been betting, watching the bet, motherfuckers on YouTube, getting parlays, doing the science, we only do the science on the baseball and the MLB. Other than that, don't waste your time. It's terrible. If you don't got regular luck in life, don't sports bet. It's just not meant to be. It's an ugly, unnecessary fucking habit. And I'm here to break you of it because I'm breaking myself of it. You feel me? And that's it. All right. Let me get to my notes. You gotta take notes when you're doing this motherfucking shit. All right. So As I've been doing my reading on ancient civilizations and my research, listening to audiobooks, podcasts, interviews, and whatnot, I came across a figure named Thoth. Thoth, close to the word thought, but we'll cover that later. So, every once in a while, if you are actually into this shit, when you start spanning when you start learning about ancient civilizations and you go from one culture to another, and then you start picking up on similarities, you ever notice how certain figures pop up across totally different cultures? You might see somebody in ancient African civilization culture that somehow pops up in ancient Mesoamerican uh, culture. Today we are talking about Thoth. Thoth is the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, and hidden knowledge. But this is the thing. This is not just some run of the mill Egyptian god. And a lot of motherfuckers, when they hear Egyptian god, they're like, oh, here we go with that shit. Oh, we want the sun god or this and that. But eventually, you got to think to yourself that the people that built, well, first of all, they didn't build it. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Quick tangent. If you ever do a lot of, what is it? Brain games, trivia. One question I see come up across all apps and whatever, different trivia questions, games, they tell you, or different ancient historical facts. You find out that Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone, which I think was 2007, than to the building of the pyramids. Because based on the research I've done, which is not a heavy amount, but is enough to know that I know what I'm talking about for a little bit for these 5 seconds. I don't think the ancient Egyptians even knew who built the pyramids. Yeah, I think that's actually documented, and we'll find that to confirm that at some point here. But think about that for a second. Cleopatra, ancient Egyptian pharaohess, however you want to pronounce it, lived closer to the invention of the iPhone. So that's at least 2,000 years right there. Than the construction of the pyramids. It's because they don't know how the fuck it was built. That's why. And you start to figure that out as you go across ancient cultures and as you go further and further back. And a big part of this show is our war against, what do we want to call it? The war against mainstream ancient archaeological academia. I hate these motherfuckers. These are the motherfuckers that will tell you that the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians as a tomb for pharaohs. And that's just not the case. If you know anything about anything when it comes to this subject, that's not true. They found this motherfucker, was like, oh, let's put some pharaohs in there. Might send them, to the afterlife. Great things. It's not that simple, but it is. The thing about Thoth is the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, and hidden knowledge. But here's the thing. Thoth shows up all over the world. Sometimes under different names, and we'll go over those other names. Thoth even shows up in the Bible. For all the Bible thumpers out there, this show will do a lot to make you question that Bible. Side note, if you read a King James Bible, if you have one in your house, just know you are reading the writings of a pedophile and a Satan worshiper. King James's writings on Satan and other things of that ilk are actually more popular than the King James version of the Bible. Also, you have to remember that God did not write the Bible. These are certain motherfuckers who are full of shit, just like me and you, who wrote the Bible. There are people have reasons. People have, prejudices. People have their own agendas when it comes to spreading historical fact. And we all know that history is written by the winners. Just because something lasted so long does not mean it wasn't written by someone who was either full of shit, on drugs, or drunk. Which, as you get deeper into history, even recent history, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you find out that a lot of our people that are called heroes were either high or drunk, sex crazed, regular people just like us, which means that it can be full of shit. There is a lot of truth, but the truth can be warped and twisted in a way that you can keep people acting in a certain way that is conducive to your agenda. This is not a conspiracy podcast. Just because something is a conspiracy does not mean it is true. You can go to jail for conspiracy, conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit fraud. This is not a conspiracy podcast. We deal in facts. We deal in things that can easily be sourced. And the quote of this show is, if you hear something from a nigga that don't sound right, only cite your sources. Cite your sources, nigga, is what we say when we hear something that makes us go, There's one thing I've learned ever since the internet popped up. You got a lot of motherfuckers that come up to you and say, oh, you know. How, nigga? How you know? Too many of us just accept shit from motherfuckers that they say just because you like them, you love them, you fuck with them. You don't want to offend them. You think they might know something. And there's people that know lots of things, but just because you're an expert in math does not mean you're an expert in English or history or science. Expertises mean you have this very specific expertise. And these days we have found out that even the experts don't know what they're talking about. Because these same experts told us that the pyramids were built as burial grounds for pharaohs. These same experts told us that civilization has only been around for 5,000 to 6,000 years. And then they found a temple built with such motherfucking preciseness that was double that, and they can't even replicate it today. In a part of the world where they thought niggas was wearing loincloths, beating rocks together, bonking their wife over the head and dragging her into the cave. But somehow we building all these things that point to perfect true north, are in accordance with the stars and the constellations. But that's another tangent. On Thoth. In Egypt, Thoth was a divine scribe and the inventor of writing, the one who kept the universe in balance with knowledge. The Greeks blended him with their own god, Hermes, and that's where we get Hermes Trismegistus, legendary author of the Hermetic texts. In Mesopotamia, scribes and knowledge were tied to the god Nabu, who played a very similar role. This next one might get you, and if you're actually into ancient civilizations, you may notice this name. In Mesoamerican cultures, you find the name Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god of wisdom and learning. These continents on the opposite sides of the planet, but strangely have a similar archetype. In Hindu traditions, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, and even Ganesha, the remover of obstacles tied to wisdom, overlap in theme. Somehow, every culture on this planet have their own version of Thoth, the keeper of sacred knowledge. But how do all these cultures, ancient cultures, this is if you're into the Bible, if you go to church, this is all before Noah's Ark. Because remember, Noah was told to build his ark because there was a flood coming, the great flood, correct? If you read back, you find that every single ancient culture on the planet, ones that do not subscribe to the Bible, ones that are older than the Bible from which the Bible is copied from, every single one has a great flood story. There are places on the planet, and we'll cover those in later episodes, that show very obvious signs of water damage, a flood. To put it in perspective, they find whale bones in the Sahara Desert, the most barren, uninhabitable place on the planet at this point in time. But they're finding whale bones in the Sahara Desert. And if I have to say that any slower, give that any more time for you to understand why that's so fucking, if not crazy interesting, then maybe you need to get your shit together. Biblical connections. Both even shows up in the Bible. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The Bible doesn't name Thoth directly, but the themes he represents show up. The book of Enoch. The book of Enoch. Now, if you actually read the Bible, you know there's Genesis, the book of Genesis, the book of fucking whatever. All the motherfuckers. You know what I'm talking about. Revelations, book of John, book of fucking Gabriel. No, Gabriel's an angel, but you know what I mean. There's books in the Bible. The book of Enoch was in the Bible and was taken out for some reason. Now, if this is all the word of God, who is it to be for man to take a book out of the Bible and say, oh no, that doesn't fit if you got it from God? The book of Enoch is a Jewish text not included in the standard Bible, even though they say Jesus, whose name was not Jesus because the letter J did not exist at that point in time. His name is Yeshua. It's not included in the standard Bible, but whatever. The book of Enoch talks about being taken up to heaven, shown the secrets of the universe, and becoming a scribe of divine wisdom. That sounds like a lot like Thoth's role. And we'll go deeper into Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, and we'll actually go into transcribing the Emerald Tablets with a cuneiform translator. That way we can decipher it for ourselves. And you don't just have to take it from me, some random nigga on the internet. Moses, we all know about Moses, is traditionally credited with writing the first 5 books of the Bible. Some scholars point out that he was raised in Egypt and Egyptian culture was full of Thoth's influence. So the idea of a divinely inspired scribe could have its roots there. If you're not catching it, some people think Moses was Thoth. Hmm. Even Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, hopefully I pronounced that right, echo this same theme. Wisdom as a divine guiding creation. That Thoth's whole job in Egyptian myth, he was thought to speak words that shaped reality. That's why it's called spelling. When you spell, you cast spells. That's why they say when you speak stuff into the universe, it gives it life. Everything we speak casts a spell into the universe, into the ether. That's why people tell you to, speak more positive. Don't speak negatively about yourself. Because if you speak negativity, negativity will come to you. And I'm working on that. I'm a negative motherfucker. And I expect positivity. So I've been trying to speak more positive and think more positive. And it's hard because you niggas suck. But anyway, even though the Bible doesn't say Thoth, the idea of a divine recorder, a bringer of wisdom and cosmic scribe shows up again and again. That's why some people think that Moses is actually Thoth. Because one thing we know about the Bible is they have these things called parables. And they say parables are stories. Now, if you hear somebody saying something, they say, oh, you're just telling stories. That sounds like it's made up. Anyway, we'll move on. The Emerald Tablets, the main thing that Thoth is known for, these actually exist. I don't know how old they are, but they are of the oldest, if not the oldest, written account for our creation story as a species um, uh, in history. The Emerald Tablets attributed to Thoth, later Hermes, which is a Greek god. The Greek got their name got the idea for their god from the ancient Egyptians. And the ancient Egyptians are not even the Egyptians that are there now. Those would be called the Dogons. But we'll cover that another time. The Emerald Tablets are short writings that have influenced alchemy, mysticism, and spiritual traditions. Here are some of the highlights. As above, so below, if you have never heard of that. That came from the Emerald Tablets, one of the most ancient writings ever created. As above, so below is an idea, and it's the microcosm that reflects the macrocosm and vice versa. If you don't understand it and you need spelled out, then I can't help you. But as above, so below. The belief that all matter and spirit are connected and transformation of one affects the other. We're all connected. That's why you hear some people say that we're all one person, or we're all one mind, or we're all one consciousness. It's why great things happen when people come together in positivity. That's why you can't completely hate church, even though a lot of it is horse shit and forms of control. There are people that actually genuinely go into it to be good people, and good things can come out of that. Sadly, there's a bunch of terrible people that run it, so it kind of undoes all of it. Uh, the Emerald Tablets also teach about the eternal soul. Thoth describes himself as eternal, moving through lifetimes while preserving wisdom. Um, in the tablets, Thoth is basically everywhere. He is not omnipresent, but he's always around. And we can go deeper into that, but that would be going past. We're just going through the introduction right now. But that means basically teaches about the eternal soul. Your soul is eternal. We are just meat sacks here running through the cosmos, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. But that's why we always say when someone dies, their soul leaves their body. There's scientific proof that souls leave bodies, and that souls actually have weight to them. Scientists have documented this. When a person has died, they'll take their weight right before death and their weight directly after death. I don't know the exact amount, but it's uh it's actually tangible. It's actually something that you can calculate and record. The eternal soul. So that's why Thoth describes himself as eternal. Now, when we're going through all of this, you have to remember that these are people, at the very least, 20,000 years ago, which I think way more, because yeah, they found fucking go Bekli Tepe, and I think that was 13,000 years old, and before that, they thought civilization was only 6,000 years. So also the Earth has been around for billions of years, and both and these are people that we thought were in loincloths and throwing rocks together, talking about eternal soul, moving through lifetimes while preserving wisdom. This isn't stuff that people that are going ooh ooh can think of. This isn't stuff that people who are fucking spending their entire life force every day trying to survive and kill and eat and make sure that they can make it to the next day. You don't have time to think of this type of stuff. The concept of transmutation, not just turning metals into gold, but elevating the soul from lower states to higher ones. That's why people say you elevate your consciousness or you become enlightened. These are thoughts and concepts that we think are very recent, but they're not. The idea that hidden knowledge, once understood, allows humans to grasp the divine laws of the universe. That's self-explanatory. But the thing is that you don't understand these teachings shape much of Western mysticism. A lot of the Bible is based off of these things. A lot of the Bible is based off of ancient African, um, not religions, tablets, stories, whatever. Why does this matter? What's wild is this is not just about one culture. This isn't just about the ancient Egyptian. It's about a universal pattern. Humanity keeps telling stories about a being that holds knowledge, records truth, and connects us to the divine. Whether you call him Thoth, Hermes, Enoch, Quetzalcoatl, the role is just the same. And it makes you wonder, were ancient people all tapping into the same truth or just describing it in their own way? These are also all people who didn't have any access to no internet, no books, no motherfucker from across the world. If you're in the middle of Africa, how you gonna tell somebody in the middle of South America, oh yeah, we built pyramids over here, nigga, y'all should do that over there? Unless they had ways of communicating that we don't know of, or Thoth actually was going everywhere. Eternal soul means Thoth doesn't mean Thoth was some immortal guy that just looked the same all the time. Um, and we'll go deeper into Thoth's origin. But his people were said to be able to transfer their consciousness into other vessels. These concepts are not new; they've been around forever, and it seems like they're new because we see them in movies and things like that. But these concepts have been around for fucking ever, literally. Thanks, babe. Souls weigh approximately 21 grams. Told y'all, science out this motherfucker. Real science. The soul does weigh approximately 21 grams. So if you're telling me from the moment a person died, right before they die, and the moment after they die, that their soul doesn't go somewhere, you're wrong. Which is why a motherfucker like me believes in reincarnation or something of the sort. And I actually heard something interesting earlier. They said that if you lived on Earth and you were not able to understand or reach any requisite level of enlightenment, you might just have to come back and do it again. And those that reach the requisite level of enlightenment, their soul travels on beyond the heavens. And they don't come back to earth and they go into whatever the fuck is after that. Maybe the actual heaven. Maybe the next step. But it's getting pretty obvious that our civilization was not the first one here. There's just too much going on. There's too much ancient writings that say there was a great flood and then the humans reemerged from the caves and repopulated the earth. There's too many places on the planet where people are saying this left and right just for us to be like, old stories. Silly cave people. If you really spend it, like, think of it. If you spend your day grinding at a shitty ass job just to pay your motherfucking bills, you get off work, you got to DoorDash your way home for some extra Skrilla. You got to pick up an Amazon Flex. You got to do another job. You got to do other side shit. Do you have time to be thinking about the beginnings of the universe and all these type of theoretical concepts? No, you don't have time for it. We don't have time for it in our everyday bullshit. So how are these motherfuckers that got real problems? They wake up, they gotta go kill for food. How are these people having time to think about this? They don't, is the point, because they wasn't the first. And one thing I learned recently is that in addition to this great flood theory, or not theory, this great flood story, when it is written that when the humans reemerged from the caves after the great flood, the ones that was able to get away and hide in the caves, when they reemerged, so when they reemerged from the caves, they had regressed. They were back to just you know cave people. Whatever learnings and technology had disappeared with the generations that grew up in the caves. So that when they reemerged to populate the earth, we started civilization over. And the most basic way I can use to make that obvious is that they thought civilization started 6,000 years ago, and then they found a motherfucking perfectly built temple with unimaginable preciseness in the cuttings and the architecture, double that. And it's crazy how all of the timelines and the years line up to right before a great flood. Everyone talks about a great flood and what happened after. A lot of shit must have gone missing. And just because we started civilization over again does not mean they were not either A, more advanced, or B, went on a whole different trajectory of technology. For example, our technology of propulsion came from did I already say it? Propulsion. Shit. Fucking blowing stuff out the back to go forward. That is our branch of technology. Who's to say these motherfuckers didn't go off the branch of I don't know, vibrations, which sounds stupid, sounds tree huggerish, but it's a thing. For example, if you put a subwoofer up under a glass table or any table for that matter that is not completely solid for feet throughout, For example, you put a subwoofer under a glass table and you put a block or a toy car on top of that table. You crank that motherfucker up, what happens? The sound wave will cause whatever is on top of that table, say the remote, to move. So who's to say that they didn't have a whole entire different branch of technology? And that's the reason. The reason I say that is because they still can't figure out how they put them pyramids together. The whole putting blocks on fucking wood and rolling it across the desert, it's already been disproved. They didn't have enough trees at that point in time. Plus, you also don't understand how heavy each of these blocks were perfectly cut and brought from a quarry miles away by people who were quote unquote in loincloths and banging rocks together. So yeah, you really got to think about shit, man. It gets very deep, actually. Um, so the next step in this show, that was the introduction to Thoth. We'll go deeper into Thoth. We'll do a part two. That was part one, and we'll do as many parts as it takes. Um, yeah, my light went out, but it's all good. We don't need it. We can still see me. Anyway, so I got 25 quick little ancient civilization things that I want to go over with y'all, and we're doing a little bit of clip farming, but I don't give a fuck. Enjoy it. You might learn something. Gobekli Tepe, the 12,000 year mystery. Historians say civilization started 6,000 years ago, but what if I told you there's a site twice as old as the pyramids? Gobekli Tepe is in Turkey and is over 12,000 years old. Huge stone pillars, intricate carvings, advanced design, built before farming existed, according to mainstream history. The big question is who built it? Hunter gatherers with stone tools? No. Or a lost civilization that we forgot. Civilization might be way older than we think. Do you believe history needs to be rewritten? The Dogon tribe in Sirius B, which I spoke about before, the Dogons are actually the original Egyptians. If you the Dogon now inhabit Mali, if I'm correct, yeah. So the the Dogon tribe in Sirius B. The Dogon people of Mali described it a star modern science didn't even discover until the 1800s. I'll say it again. The Dogon people of Mali described a star that modern science didn't even discover until the 1800s. They knew Sirius had a hidden twin star, Sirius B, which is invisible to the naked eye. They even said it was incredibly dense, which turned out to be true. It is a white dwarf. How could an isolated African tribe have this knowledge centuries early? Was it oral tradition or something out of this world? One thing that people don't know about the Dogons is they say that they received their knowledge from the Pleiadians. Have you looked that part up? Is this a coincidence or ancient contact? Over to Mesoamerica, the Olmec colossal heads. Have you ever seen a 40-ton stone head with African features in ancient Mexico in the jungles? The Olmec civilization carved massive basalt heads over 3,000 years ago. Many say their features look distinctly African. Wide noses, full lips. Were these just local depictions or evidence of transatlantic contact long before Columbus? If you don't know about the Olmec heads, go look it up. Everything I'm saying is true. History books don't answer this, but maybe you can. Why are there carvings of people in the jungles of Mexico with very specific African features from so long ago before they were quote unquote able to seafare? So when I say that the pyramids are built in accordance with the constellations, this is what I mean. The pyramids in Orion's belt. What if the pyramids of Giza were more than tombs, but star maps? The three great pyramids align almost perfectly with Orion's belt. Ancient Egyptians associated Orion with Osiris, the god of afterlife, the heavens. Coincidence or proof they designed the pyramids as part of a cosmic plan? The sky and the earth mirror images. Why? The Baghdad battery. Did ancient people make electricity thousands of years ago before Edison? Clay jars found in Iraq, dating back to 2,000 years ago, may have functioned as batteries. Some scientists believe they were used to electroplate metals. Was this primitive science or a lost advanced technology? If they had batteries, what else could they have powered? The Nazca lines. Why would a culture carve massive figures only visible from the sky? The Nazca lines in Peru stretch for miles, depicting animals, plants, and shapes you can only see from above. If you're on ground level, you cannot make out what this is. It just seems like a trail. These are things you can only see from the sky, as if in a plane. But these things were done way before planes were existed. Did they have hot air balloons? Were they making runways for something? Were they trying to signal to something in the air? Is it ancient art or alien lander strips? You tell me. Easter Island Moai statue. How did a tiny island carve and move 80-ton statues? The Rapa Nui people created massive stone figures, some taller than a three-story building. Moving them across islands remains a mystery. Human ingenuity or outside influence? The Sphinx water erosion theory. This is what I was talking about with there being clear evidence all across the earth of water damage. Is the Great Sphinx thousands of years older than the Egyptologists admit? Some geologists claim heavy water erosion on the Sphinx suggests it's at least 9,000 years old. 9,000 years old, long before dynastic Egypt or the ancient Egyptians that we're taught about in school. Was it built by an earlier forgotten civilization? If true, history books would need rewriting. Everything would need rewriting, and that's why it's being held down because motherfuckers don't want to rewrite because then that means their entire life's work was a sham and a waste of time and wrong. Stonehenge. We've all heard about Stonehenge. Why build a massive stone circle in prehistoric England? Stonehenge lines up with the solstices, acting as a calendar or observatory, but the stones came from over 100 miles away. How did they transport and lift all these stones? Is it an ancient engineering or lost technology? Machu Picchu. How did the Inca build a mountaintop city with stones so precise you can't slide a blade in between them to this day? Machu Picchu's walls have no mortar yet survived earthquakes for centuries. Were the Inca master engineers or inheritors of an older technology? Perfect stonework, no modern tools. Tell me how that's possible. Pumapunku. These stones look like they were cut with lasers, but they're over 1,000 years old. At Pumapunku in Bolivia, blocks weigh hundreds of tons and have precision cut angles. Did ancient builders have advanced tools or did they have help from beyond? Technology lost to time? You tell me. The Ark of the Covenant, a sacred relic, or is it an ancient power source? The Bible describes the ark as a chest of gold and wood that carries God's presence and even killed those who touched it. Was it symbolic or a real device with energy we don't understand? Is it an ancient religion or ancient tech? And for those that don't know, the Ark of the Covenant still exists in Ethiopia. They appoint I don't know what they're called. They appoint a holy person to guard the Ark of the Covenant, and they all die within months with injuries that very closely resemble radiation poisoning. The same thing if you go and read the Bible, you had to wear all these protective clothing and gears just to handle the Ark of the Covenant so that you wouldn't die, bleed from your eyes, hair fall out. They all sound like radiation. So it sounds like way back then they were dealing in radiation and nuclear technology. Crazy as fuck. But if you don't believe me, go look it up. The Mayan calendar. Did the Mayans predict the end of the world? The Mayan long count calendar famously ended in 2012. Many thought it meant doomsday, but scholars say it marked the end of a cycle. The big question is, did they know cosmic cycles were only rediscovering? The big one, where all this stuff comes from, the ancient Anunnaki and Sumerians. The world's first written stories describe gods who came from the sky. The world's first written stories describe gods who came from the sky. They didn't have alien movies or ancient aliens on the History Channel to give them these ideas. The world's very first written stories described by of gods who came from the sky. Sumerian tablets mention the Anunnaki, beings who gave humanity knowledge and kingship. Are these myths or memories of real visitors? Were the Anunnaki gods, aliens, or something else? The lost city of Atlantis. A lot of people think this is just a Disney story, but Plato wrote about a great city that sank beneath the sea. Remember when I said that they found whale bones in the Sahara Desert? You might want to look up something called the Reshock structure if you're interested in Atlantis in the Sahara Desert. But anyway, Plato wrote about a great city that sank beneath the sea. Atlantis has never been found, but theories place it in the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, and even Antarctica. Is it pure legend or history that we lost? Do you think Atlantis was real? The Zimbabwe ruins, the Great Zimbabwe ruins. Did you know Africa has its own mysterious ancient ruins? The Great Zimbabwe, built between, wait, what? My bad, I wrote my shit wrong. Great Zimbabwe, built between the 11th and 15th centuries. So that means from the year 1000 and 1400. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, had massive stone walls without mortar, housing tens of thousands of people. Why don't we hear more about ancient Africa's ancient achievements? History isn't just Egypt, it's global. I'll say that one more time without fucking up my words. Great Zimbabwe, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, had massive stone walls without mortar, housing tens of thousands of people. Why don't we hear more about Africa's ancient achievements? History isn't just Egypt, it's global. What do you think? Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument in the world, isn't Rome or Egypt. It's in Cambodia. Yes, the jungles of Cambodia. Angkor Wat's temples stretched for miles, aligned with solstices and celestial events. Was this just religion or cosmic knowledge? Ancient architects know more than we think. The Copper Scroll treasures. A Dead Sea Scroll describes a hidden treasure worth billions. The Copper Scroll, found in the 1950s, lists 64 locations of buried gold and silver from the Second Temple. Was it real treasure or symbolic? The Shroud of Turin. If you're into the Bible, if you go to church, you may have heard of this. The Shroud of Turin, a cloth that may show the face of Jesus or Yeshua, because his name wasn't Jesus. Is this a miracle or a hoax? The Shroud of Turin bears the image of a crucified man. Tests dated anywhere from medieval times to 2,000 years ago when they say that he was crucified. Is it authentic or one of the greatest forgeries ever? Faith or science? You tell me. Chichen Itza sound trick. Clap your hands at this Mayan pyramid and it answers back. At Chichen Itza, clap echoes like a bird call, and it's an intentional acoustic design. Were the Mayan sound engineers as well as builders? Echoes from the past, literally. The crystal skulls. Are these carved quartz skulls ancient relics or modern fakes? Found in Mexico and Central America, some claim they're thousands of years old with mystical powers. Are they genuine artifacts or clever hoaxes? Would you believe in their power? The Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria. Imagine the greatest library in history hadn't burned down, if you're not aware of it. The Library of Alexandria may have held knowledge from all over the ancient world, and it was lost when it was destroyed. What secrets of science and history were lost forever? Humanity had to start over. What else could we have missed? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Ancient scrolls hidden in caves for 2,000 years. Why? The Dead Sea Scrolls contained early biblical texts and other writings preserved in jars until their discovery in the 1940s. Were they hidden to protect forbidden knowledge? What truths still lie in that desert? And lastly, the Egyptian light bulb. Did the Egyptians have electricity? Carvings in the Temple of Hathor shows what looks like giant light bulbs with filaments inside. Was it symbolic art or proof of ancient tech? Were they showing us something literal? And that is it for this episode of the KO Show. Just wanted to go over those 25 things so that you can do some more research on one that interests you. Next time, we'll go deeper into part two of Thoth and why Thoth is so important and why I decided to dedicate a whole show to Thoth. It may seem like a lot right now, but we're doing these crash courses, trying to get things together. That way, when we get into depth, you can understand where I'm coming from and not think I'm just reading bullshit. So until next time, this is the KO Show. See y'all for episode 9.